This female officer had relations with an inmate in the presence of 11 other prisoners. Incredibly, she was not the only officer to cross the boundaries of the law. For example, Nicholas Aitchison, a police officer whose career was destroyed after being caught asking a female detainee for inappropriate favors. Nicholas Aitchison, 28 years old, a Daytona Beach police officer, faced serious charges related to inappropriate conduct while he was on duty, which resulted in the end of his career. On October 6th, he was taken into custody on suspicion of improper behavior and professional misconduct during the transport of a female detainee, in an incident that occurred on May 30th of the same year. On that occasion, Aitchison was responsible for taking a woman in custody to the Volusia County Jail after her arrest for an offense on the beach. During the trip, he deviated from the planned route, stopping behind a building on Old DeLand Road. According to the investigations, the officer had ordered the woman, still handcuffed, to get out of the vehicle. During the stop of a little over 8 minutes, Aitchison allegedly made inappropriate requests and suggested conduct outside protocol. The victim refused and, upon arriving at the jail, reported what happened to a supervisor. The woman's report triggered an investigation conducted by the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. Surveillance images captured by the transport vehicle showed that the initial justification presented by Aitchison, claiming adjustments to the handcuffs, was inconsistent with the facts. The images confirmed that the woman was already properly handcuffed when she was removed from the van. The Daytona Beach Police Chief, Craig Capri, reacted quickly upon receiving the complaint. Aitchison was removed from his duties the same day, with the removal of his firearm, badge, and other equipment. The official dismissal occurred after the conclusion of the criminal investigation. Capri emphasized that actions like this would not be tolerated within the department. Aitchison was released on bail of $15,000 after remaining detained for 1 day and was due to appear in court in October to answer the charges. The case revealed a serious breach of trust and raised discussions about compliance with ethical and professional standards among public safety officers. Rachel Wilson, a prison officer at HMP Addywell in West Lothian, Scotland, was removed from her duties after the release of images that showed her kissing an inmate in his cell. The recording, captured by a hidden camera installed by the inmate Kevin Hogg, revealed a significant violation of conduct protocols in prison environments. Kevin Hogg, imprisoned for a traffic infraction and serving a sentence of 3 years, used an unauthorized cell phone to record the encounter. In the images, he is seen positioning the camera in his cell before Wilson's arrival. When the officer enters, Hogg kisses her, recording the moment in secret. The white-walled cell became the scene of an episode that had wide repercussions, raising questions about security and supervision in the prison system. The recording came to light without the officer's consent, and when she learned of the images, she chose to resign. The incident drew attention to how easily the inmate managed to access and use a prohibited device, exposing significant failures in the security control of the prison unit. The authorities at HMP Addywell initiated an investigation to determine how the cell phone was introduced and used inside the prison. HMP Addywell, managed by a private entity, faced criticism due to the security gaps evidenced by the case. Preventive measures are being analyzed to ensure that similar situations do not happen again. A Brazilian prison officer named Linda de Sousa Abreu was convicted by the Justice of the United Kingdom after being caught in an inappropriate relationship with an inmate at Wandsworth Prison in London. The case gained notoriety after the discovery of videos recorded by the inmate that revealed the relationship between them inside the prison facilities. Investigations indicated that Linda, 44 years old, began the relationship while she was on duty at the prison unit. The inmate, identified as Linton Wyrick, 36 years old, used prohibited devices to record the encounters. The images, later analyzed by the authorities, showed physical interactions inside the cell and in other areas of the prison, violating conduct and security rules. The officer was detained after the prison administration received reports about the case. During the trial, it was revealed that the inmate obtained access to a smuggled cell phone, which was used to record the episodes. Linda was charged with misconduct in public office and had her sentence announced after a detailed process that analyzed the evidence presented. In a case that generated great repercussion, Chanel Betterson-Eichelberger, a former detention officer of the Fulton County Sheriff's Department, was fired and faced multiple charges after being identified in improper behavior with an inmate. The investigation revealed evidence captured by a cell phone inside the Fulton County Detention Center, a device that was seized during a routine operation. The professional, 36 years old, was charged with inappropriate physical contact while performing her duties, in addition to other infractions that violated the oath taken as a public servant. Chanel Jenkins began her career in the department in December of 2019. The prison administration reinforced the commitment to preventing similar violations, adopting stricter measures of internal control and training. This incident underlines the importance of ethics and compliance with protocols in environments where security and order depend on constant professionalism and vigilance. In Fresno, California, a case involving former prison officer Tina Gonzalez gained notoriety after revelations about her conduct inside the county detention center. Gonzalez, 26 years old, was fired and later convicted after admitting inappropriate behavior with an inmate. Her service as an officer, which began in 2016, ended abruptly in 2019 when evidence of her improper interactions in the prison environment emerged. The investigations began when co-workers identified irregularities during internal monitoring. Evidence presented in court included details of communications between her and an inmate, in addition to her relating intimately with him in front of 11 other inmates. The case stood out due to the seriousness of the violations committed. During the period under investigation, Gonzalez allegedly facilitated the inmates' access to unauthorized items, compromising the integrity of the prison environment. Reports also indicated that the professional acted in a way that demonstrated negligence in fulfilling her duties, resulting in severe consequences for her career and reputation. The trial of Tina Gonzalez culminated in a sentence of 7 months in prison, in addition to 2 years of probation. At the Encombe Correctional Center, located in the province of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, there was the circulation of a video that showed the employee and the inmate in inappropriate behavior inside a cell. The recording, obtained through an unauthorized device inside the prison complex, exposed a series of failures in the security system and in compliance with internal rules. The officer involved in the case was identified and immediately removed from her duties. The South African correctional authorities opened an investigation to ascertain the circumstances that allowed the occurrence and dissemination of the images. The inmate, who was also identified, was serving a sentence for previous crimes. The inquiry revealed that he had access to a clandestine cell phone used to record the compromising images. The Department of Correctional Services of South Africa issued public statements, reinforcing its commitment to ethics and security in the country's prisons. The incident not only led to the dismissal of the employee involved, but also triggered a general review of the unit's operations. The dissemination of the video generated debates about the prison system's vulnerability to contraband and about the conduct of its professionals. Other officers were placed under review, while the case continued to be analyzed by internal committees and regulatory bodies. Charlene O'Banion, a prison officer in Texas, faced serious charges after being accused of maintaining an improper relationship with an inmate identified as Jacob Parker. Suspicions arose from rumors circulating among other staff members of the institution who began to question O'Banion's behavior. Initially, she denied the accusations, stating that the rumors had originated from a jealous inmate. However, the investigations began to gather evidence that contradicted her claims. The police and investigators began to analyze telephone communications between O'Banion and Parker. The recordings of those calls showed conversations between the two, in which O'Banion tried to conceal the nature of her relationship with the inmate. During the dialogues, O'Banion was confronted with the evidence, admitting that she had already had contact with Parker before they were both in prison. The recordings indicated that the conversations between them had an intimate tone, contradicting her initial denials. In addition to the telephone recordings, the investigation revealed more physical and photographic evidence implicating O'Banion. During the interrogation, O'Banion minimized the impact of that evidence, but the police revealed more incriminating details that placed her in a difficult position. Although there was no direct proof of intimate acts between O'Banion and Parker inside the prison, the telephone conversations were sufficient to suggest that there was a relationship of an improper nature between the two. O'Banion tried to justify that the events occurred outside the prison, but the recordings indicated otherwise, revealing information that contradicted her claims.
We're notified of a possible improper relationship between you and Jacob Parker. So we're here for that, and I just kind of want to talk to you about it and get your side of that story.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
As the investigations advanced, O'Banion finally admitted that she had become involved with the inmate, revealing the legal complexities surrounding her behavior. The fact that Parker was in custody while maintaining a relationship with O'Banion raised questions about consent and the use of police power. As a consequence of her actions, O'Banion lost her position at the prison and faced criminal charges. She was sentenced to 100 days in prison due to her relationship with the inmate, an outcome that brought to light the legal and professional implications of her behavior. In an investigation that shook the prison system, former prison officer Charlotte Farrow from Massachusetts was accused of getting involved in improper behavior with the inmate Nathan Williams while he was serving time in a state facility. Farrow, who worked as a security officer at the location, was caught in an incident that compromised her career and her position within the institution. The authorities became aware of the case after a series of anonymous reports and an internal investigation that resulted in evidence of inappropriate conduct. During the investigative process, images and records indicated that Farrow had become involved with Nathan Williams in a series of interactions that infringed the internal rules and the laws that govern the behavior of employees in prisons. Nathan Williams, a victim of violence in childhood, developed serious psychological problems and stated that the officer took advantage of his past. He was convicted of crimes related to illicit substances and was in custody at the prison when the incident came to light. Farrow was accused of violating the code of conduct, which resulted in her immediate dismissal and informal charges. According to the investigations, the incidents occurred over a considerable period, but only after careful analysis of security records and internal communications was the situation discovered. The state correctional authorities stated that Farrow's behavior represented a serious violation of the principles of the prison system, which seeks to guarantee the safety and integrity of both inmates and professionals who work in the units. The case generated a review of monitoring and control procedures within the institution, with measures to prevent new incidents of this type. Melissa Goodwin was considered a model of professionalism within the prison system. Before her name became involved in a scandal, she performed her role with diligence and was recognized by superiors as an exemplary officer. However, a forbidden relationship with the inmate Corey London, a criminal convicted of armed robbery, ended up changing her trajectory. The case that shook the correctional system involved clandestine communication between Goodwin and London. Initially, the officer's behavior was discreet, but investigations revealed that she had exchanged messages and made secret telephone calls with the prisoner, which was clearly against the established rules. In addition, a love letter that Goodwin wrote to the inmate was found, confirming the nature of the involvement between them. The situation worsened when the charge against Goodwin expanded to allegations that she had become intimately involved with London, a violation of the institution's rules. However, the legal process took an unexpected turn when London refused to testify against the former officer. Although she was seen as an exemplary employee until that moment, Goodwin's imprisonment was imminent until the accused decided not to cooperate with the prosecution. Instead of being taken to court and facing a prison sentence, Goodwin was sentenced to perform 100 hours of community service over a period of 1 year. That sentence was a way to avoid prison, but still indicated that her actions had resulted in serious consequences, although not as severe as they could have been. After what happened, Melissa Goodwin lost her position of trust within the prison system, and her career was irreparably compromised. The trust she had built throughout her professional trajectory was shaken, and she came to be seen under a new light, in which her image of a model officer was replaced by a memory of a serious failure. With the sentence to community service, Goodwin avoided prison but lost her position of prominence. In a penitentiary of Darlington County, a prison officer was caught performing an improper act with an inmate thanks to images captured by security cameras. The officer, in his supervisory role, was recorded on video while requesting inappropriate favors from a prisoner. The footage, which was captured by a camera with limited quality, showed the officer with his back turned in a scene he believed was not being recorded. However, the low resolution of the camera did not prevent the identification of what occurred. The inmate involved in the incident reported what happened to another authority within the institution, which initiated an investigation. The inquiry, which included analysis of the security video, resulted in sufficient evidence to charge the officer with improper conduct. The officer's act was considered a serious violation of his professional duty, since he used his position of authority to try to coerce an inmate. After being indicted, the officer lost his job and now faces the legal consequences of his actions. Do not forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.